guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And that thing we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube without being demonetized, even though it is completely upending everything in the whole world.
No, some people are allowed to talk about it.
Some people are. Some people, like Matt Pat, can talk about it and not get demonetized. But we're not allowed to because we're too small.
Well, because we're too newsy. We're not making a contest between characters or who's going to die.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, that thing is having a massive effect on Hollywood, and this is just the beginning. Hollywood is going to probably, between Hollywood and tourism, and the two are actually interconnected very closely. The entertainment industry is not going to look the same when we come out the other end of this.
I agree.
It's going to be decimated.
Well, nothing ever looks the same when it comes out the other end. I'm just saying.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true. But, you know, the box office already, first weekend of what could best be described as like a national shutdown, the box office didn't do that well. Of course it didn't. This is why everybody's moving their movies out of the way.
People aren't going because they're afraid to go. A lot of movie theaters are being shut down. International markets were not counting in this because they already postponed them international releases for, definitely for some things. So, of course, it's going to take a hit.
Yeah, so what's going to be funny about this, though, is that if a movie underperforms at the box office 2 weeks ago, they're going to blame that thing we can't talk about.
Yeah, well, they're blaming Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey.
But they were never going to open in China anyway.
No, they
Sorry, so that argument's BS.
All right, so let's talk about this. Before we get into it, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, we're going to be talking about the entertainment industry and animation and all of this stuff that's all changing. It's all changing right before our very eyes. You guys are living history, whether or not you want to admit it or not. We have people trying to minimize the situation. We're not talking about the illness itself. We're talking about the fallout from it.
The illness might not do much of anything. We don't know, but the fallout is going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. The entertainment industry is not going to be the same. So follow us for more news on that. This is coming from Wired. The U.S. box office just had its worst weekend in 20 years. Well, of course it did.
Yeah.
Plus all the major releases were pushed back. I think Quiet Place 2 was supposed to open this weekend.
It was
they pushed
that
back.
Yep.
So it said an increasing number of Americans are staying at home in an attempt to slow the spread of that thing we can't talk about. God, I'm so annoyed that I have to even say that. YouTube, this is so freaking stupid. I know apparently they're going to let more people talk about it, but they haven't opened it up to everybody yet.
Right.
The people that are talking about it
are allowed to abuse it.
Abusing it. We're just talking news. So ticket sales at North American theaters hit a low not seen in some 20 years, with the domestic box office coming in around 55 million this past weekend. A number that at any other time could be reached by a single film.
I was going to say, that's usually what one film does.
Even a film that underperforms sometimes hits 55. The figure represents a 45% drop from last weekend's take. Onward was the only movie to make more than 10 million.
10 million, and that's considered, and they're going out singing the praises of Onward, still leading the box office. This is like when the Mary Sue was going, Birds of Prey was one of the top movies of the year after Doolittle, because it made more money than the other movies that were out.
Yeah, well, they're pushing back No Time to Die. They're pushing back Mulan. They're shutting down production on a bunch of movies. I mean, so what we're gonna get? I mean, we're basically looking at I talked about the snap and the blip, and that's what this feels like. Like all of Hollywood is going to be shifted back a few months, probably.
Yeah.
And the movies that would have come out now are going to come out 6 months from now.
Right.
And what's going to happen is that the box office take is going to drop off a cliff. Small movie theater chains will probably go out of business.
Yeah, sadly, I think that's probably true.
They were already having hard enough time competing with streaming services, with digital, with home release, and now, I think mom and pop movie theaters might go out completely. I mean, if they're not pulling the money in, what are they going to do? They said all theaters in New York are closed. I think all the theaters in LA are closed.
LA are closed too. And they said a lot of them are limiting their capacity to screenings because they have to have so much distance between seats. It's just social distancing. It's not good, guys.
As productions slow down or cease entirely, the total impact on Hollywood is hard to estimate, though The Hollywood Reporter notes it could top $20 billion.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be high.
I think it's going to be higher than that.
Probably.
Because, just Disney alone with their parks and stuff shut down.
They're bragging about Rise of Skywalker. Digital release came early. It was 3 days. Frozen 2 was moved up 3 months because they're trying to get people to buy subscriptions to try to mitigate the damages.
Everybody who wanted Disney Plus at this point, I think, has Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right now, though, HBO could come in and make a killing. I mean, they could come in and be like, hey guys, HBO Max with all new programming.
They could, actually.
You're stuck in the house. Come on over here.
Wasn't it supposed to release sometime soon?
May. I think it's May.
Okay, it was coming soon.
Yeah, so that might actually be a huge benefit to them, provided all the shows that they were going to put on the service haven't been shut down.
Well, that could be too. I know The Witcher, they said they stopped production on it now too.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is
oh my God.
Stopped.
So this is bad. I mean, this is again, you know, I feel like we're the bearer of bad news anymore. I mean, we do, you know, take pot shots at Hollywood and the media and all that on this channel, but this is like
deserve it.
When they deserve it. But this is like, I mean, this is cataclysmic, guys. Like this is the writer's strike and 9/11, all that is going to be nothing compared to the damage that's going to be done. You're basically shutting down all the movie theaters, shutting down production, pushing releases back. Hollywood's not going to look the same on the other side of this, just like Disney's not going to look the same on the other side of the theme park shutdown. And on Disney's case, they're getting on both sides. They're getting in the movie theaters, and they're getting on three fronts: movie theaters, sports, and theme parks.
They're the three biggest moneymakers.
Yeah, I mean, this is bad. But all these small movie theaters are going to go out of business.
Probably.
And even a lot of the chains might go out of business because some of these chains were holding on by their fingertips too.
Yeah, because people have been there was already a downturn before this, guys. We've been talking about the downturn in moviegoers before this happened, and now it's really, really going to get bad.
Yeah, so now everybody's going to blame the failure of Onward on this, which I think, I mean, partially, but then, you know, people were like, we're not really into it anyway. But they're going to go back in time, like we said, and start blaming other movies. You know, well, it came out in January. It must have been that thing we can't talk about. You know,
that's right.
Must have. It's the most dangerous virus ever. It can time travel.
It can time travel, that's right.
You got to watch out for those time traveling viruses.
That's right. They shut down everything.
They shut down everything and went back in time and destroyed every movie in the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, I mean, here in Pennsylvania, you know, to just talk about the shutdown now, we're in the Pittsburgh area, but in the Philly area, they're shutting down like non-essential businesses.
Yeah, it's going to happen in Pittsburgh too, because Allegheny County just had cases, so it's going to shut down Pittsburgh too.
Oh my God. So yeah, I think if you've got a lot of streaming content, good streaming content, which unfortunately Disney doesn't have a lot of right now. They have a lot of reruns, a couple of good things, but I think you're in a pretty good place. So I gotta wonder, with all this and with Disney getting desperate, you know, will they go ahead and release Mulan just to Vudu or something?
Digital. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to put it on Disney Plus, but it would make sense to release it digitally.
Yeah, you'd still have to buy it, you know?
Yeah, you still have to buy it. And they could do it like, okay, you can watch it early, but you know, it would have cost you this much, you know, for a family of 4 or whatever else we're in charge or something. I don't know.
Kind of like pay-per-view.
Well, they don't have the expenses. The theaters normally take a cut too.
That's true.
So, like, when they have the ticket sales, it might be like, you know, $10 a ticket. I think that's kind of high, but you know, like, we'll say $8 a ticket.
Right.
And of that $8 a ticket, Disney might only get like, you know, 4 or 5 of it anyway, which they make sure they get a big cut. This way, they can charge $20 and get all the money, whatever Vudu's cut is. But you know, most.
Yeah.
Of the money.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be interesting about this, because we talked before about whether or not theaters would just, studios would just skip theaters entirely. And this could be what pushes them in that direction.
Right, because there's been talk they might do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. And theaters make most of their money in concessions anyway. People aren't coming, so they're not making any money.
Right. I mean, it's a scary thought, because I can't imagine a time without movie theaters, but I think movie theaters might go the way of arcades and shopping malls and...
Right. And I think the people who are set up to be the best right now that are Hollywood related are the streaming services, are the people who are out there, like, you know, studios like animation studios, Netflix and stuff, that are letting people go home to work on things. I think anime is going to do really well right now because there's so much of it out there that already exists, and these places are bringing it in, and people are like, oh, I can just go watch anime.
Yeah.
There are sports networks in places like Taiwan and stuff that are shut down. They are running animes of sports shows. Like sports show animes.
Oh, okay.
Like in Taiwan, they're like, yeah, they're running
Prince of Tennis and
things like that. But they're running
baseball.
They're running animes that are based on their sports animes on their sporting networks, because they're keeping people watching, but they don't have actual, you know, games going on because they can't. So they're running animes.
Well, that's what's going to happen with ESPN. What are they going to do? Where are they going to run? I mean,
well, I recommend they run animes or cartoons of sports.
They're going to have Sports Goofy 24/7.
There you go. Sports Goofy.
Sports
but that's
Goofy
what they're
shorts.
doing to keep their channels going. They're running animes on it. So I'm like, right now, things like the digital manga, the digital books, comic books, that'll probably do better.
Because you don't have to go to the comic shop.
Right, you don't have to go to the shop. You just download it on your iPad. Everybody's trapped at home, or if they're in the office because they're required to go to work, they might not have much work to do, so they're looking for things to do. I think services that offer, shows like that are already out there on the platforms, or I'm telling you, anime, and places that are making things from home that their employees can work from home because they're doing things like animation and stuff, will probably do okay.
Well, I think that's where things are going to change, because we already saw that Hollywood is sending home animators to work at home, and if the studio system kind of collapses because of this, that's where I think we're going to have more homegrown entertainment. And that's where,
that's where we come in.
That's where we come in. That's YouTubers are going to take off. I think people doing their own comics, their own animation, they're going to take off again, because you can work with almost a skeleton crew and get stuff done.
I really wish Squid King would do a show, because he talked before about doing some kind of variety show, and he would excel at it because the kid's hilarious, but he's also incredibly shy.
Yeah, he is.
He wants to do films or do things like that, but he's really shy, but he'd be a fantastic guy. I can't tell you. He does these little skits all the time, and he is just really good at it, and it would be hilarious. People would tune in like crazy, but he won't ever do it.
But yeah, I think that's where things are definitely going to change. Now, what's interesting though is we've got a couple people calling for everyone to be paid during the shutdown. The thing is we don't know how long things are going to be shut down. Right,
and I mean, I agree. That'd be in a perfect world. That would be the best thing to do. I mean, if we were in that situation, I'd be worried. You can't work. It's not your fault, but it's not the company's fault either. So I don't know what the answer is here, because a lot of companies are.
Yeah.
I guess it's a lot of sports arenas and stuff to make sure their employees are paid. The owners and some of the players are giving money to make sure that people continue to get paid. But for how long?
That's it. I mean, eventually, if you can't produce the content and the content's not generating the revenue, then there's no money to pay people. It's like, Disney with the theme parks, we talked about that. They shut down. They said, yeah, we're paying everybody until the end of the month. But I think what they're not telling people is that the parks could stay closed longer than that, and Disney's probably not going to be able to pay people past the end of the month.
Well, industries like some of these things where like they're shows and people are still watching them, so they're still getting paid somewhat. Yeah. They might be okay to do that, but like Disney can only do so much, because they do not have the reserves to pay people for months and months and months. They just don't. I'm sorry about what people tell you, they don't.
Yeah, and he's not being whiny about it. I mean, this guy is he's from Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet co-creator. Rob McElhaney. He's not being a jerk about it. He said the studios who have committed to continuing payroll, who have not committed to continuing payroll, are not evil. There are many factors.
Right. They might not be able to.
They might not be able to. I mean, this situation, this shutdown could make or break a lot of studios, and paying or not paying people could be the difference between them, staying open or having to shutter the business completely.
Well, even there was businesses, this is not, I'm not naming the business, but there was a business that was in the news. People were mad because they were telling their employees that they should give up their days off to other employees to make sure that everybody got paid for a shutdown. Instead of taking the money out of their own, and they have the money to do it.
I know which business this is.
Yeah, and they were saying that their employees should give up their days off, and that money they would have had in sick time to other people to make sure they got paid instead of the company actually paying for the people.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of skeezy, because there are other like CEOs of companies and stuff that are actually foregoing their pay. I mean, geez, look at the money you save on Bob Iger. They could pay Disney staffers for a while, and he's got...
Well, not really, because how much a day does that cost?
I think they figured out Disney just to pay the staff was something like $30 million a week.
Right.
Just to pay the staff.
So I don't think his pay is going to cover for very long. So
no. But then the flip side is, Iger at one point was making 3 times the entire staff of Disney in a year as they made in a week. But,
right, that's true.
So, I don't know. This is going to be interesting, though. This is going to change things. I think, the closest thing I could think of this for Hollywood was the writer's strike, where a lot of shows shut down, movies shut down, and these actors had to go out and kind of find their own way, and they started like Funny or Die, and they started YouTube channels and stuff like that. And I think that's going to happen again. I think it's going to happen again, that the people who can are going to have to kind of go start their own thing just to survive,
I agree.
Unfortunately. So, I don't know. We're going to wrap it up, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll keep tabs on the situation regarding the thing we can't talk about.
Hopefully it's a short situation, and if it's short, it might not be that much damage. But if it's way that it's going to other countries, there might be quite a bit.
It could be a couple of months, guys.
We'll see, guys. We'll see.
We'll wrap it up. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.